Oh, I actually just forgot that I had to go live, and I was sitting here working on the sketch in complete silence. But I'm just going to get started. You'll see the reference image I used on the left. There's Aqua on the right. And here is the rough sketch that I did that I'm going to be getting lining done on, so I can just hide those two. And I could probably just shrink the canvas at this point, since my rough sketch is all I really need. Hello, Ray Demon. Welcome to the stream. Let's see, I do remember you. You're in the Art Friends group, first of all. I remember that, I'm fairly certain. And you did also participate in the PNG thing that I ran a little while back. I think that was only yesterday, but it feels like a little while ago at the very least. Alright, well, now you get to see my actual level of artistic talent working with this. So, as I said during my last art stream, I did actually look at some tutorials, so I understand how, in theory, some of the features work. I just haven't put anything into practice yet. Alright. So, I'm going to drop the opacity of the sketch a little bit, and then just do some line art over it all. And I should probably also decrease my brush size, because when I was working on the GSOC art, I noticed that having too thick of a brush was making my firmer lines look a bit off. Alright, so let's see. So I'm just, I guess I'll talk about what I've learned so far. So I understand how you clip layers together, and that causes you to be unable to draw outside of a bounded field sort of effect. I'm certain that that will be useful in some cases. And I will attempt to utilize it at some point. I'm just not entirely confident using it, especially for the first time on stream, so I'll probably work on some stuff off stream as well, so that I can get more used to the complicated features. I wonder if I have enough time, I might not stream tomorrow and use that to experiment with some of the more advanced features that I looked into. One of the things that I did say I was going to do that I forgot to was change the key bindings on my stylus. So it's still not entirely how I want it to be. I'd like to get the undo button on the pen working properly so that I don't have to keep moving my hand over to the button. Let me zoom in on this so that I can follow the line a bit more accurately. There we go. I wonder, is it easier for me to draw down or up? Doesn't seem to be making too much difference. But it does feel fine if I just alternate it as well. Not too much difference. But it does also help just to lift my pen every now and then so that I don't fall into a groove. Alright. I do want to sort of make the ends here a bit rougher. Maybe be a bit more abstract about the lines. Because it should look like hair. Because it is hair. It's just a bit tricky for me to... Let's see. Perhaps I just draw thinner at the base then? Because I do like the effect that the sketch has, where it's a lot looser lines. I just want to make sure that it's all matching together. You know, perhaps if I have a bit of the hair break out to the side at the base instead of going straight down, that might have a better visual effect. I think I may be onto something here, and just not have the level of talent necessary to pull it off entirely. Let's see. Clip the layer below. Solid color to snap to. Yeah. Use your line art to restrict coloring. It wouldn't work well because nothing except the lines themselves would get colored. Yes. Yes. That's, I feel like I remember that being part of the tutorial. Where you have a base color that you apply to everything that's just a slightly different color than the base canvas. Yes. Whenever I would do highlights, I would just create a new layer that's slightly slightly transparent, and then just use the what is it? Airbrush to lightly add some semi-transparent color on a higher layer, which does work somewhat, but I mean, obviously the layer clipping is the way it's intended to be done. And from what I see, it's the preferred method. It's just not something that I am familiar with. So it's going to take some practice for me to get used to it. There we go. Hair is difficult because it's drawing it in this sort of medium. I feel like the hair almost always looks better as a sketch than when I've rendered it, because the loose lines add much better texture than the hard outlines, I find. So perhaps I should be trying for a different style when I'm drawing hair. Because right around here, where I just have loose lines, it's very difficult to translate this into a solid outline, I feel. Let's see. I feel like I'm making Aqua's hair a bit messier than it actually is. That's fine. It's art after all. I'm not attempting to perfectly replicate anything. Yeah. Yep, drawing curly hair in sketches, yeah. Let's see. This hair... Let's see. It's where hair starts to split up that it starts to become difficult to draw. So like the top of the head, it's typically fine for it to be flat. There can be a little bit sticking out. But it's around the base where I have the most trouble, I feel. I also have a fireplace near to where I do a lot of my recordings. And I had a fire going today, and it still smells like smoke in here. So I've been sniffling quite a lot. Alright. And I realized I never actually properly took a look at what Aqua had on her head. I thought it was something similar to like a nurse's cap. But it's actually a bow. Which I don't know why I didn't realize. And I'm not entirely certain how to draw knots. But this looks somewhat accurate. Yeah, it's a bandana. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what it was. And I think this is possibly one of the best works I've done with perspective, where I have the bow disappearing behind her head on the further back side. Alright, let's hide the sketch real quick and see how the face looks. Alright, not too bad. The hair on the left side and Melody's head. Okay, the hair on the left side looks slightly off. I'm trying to think how to fix it. Perhaps if I just make this a separate strand and complete the line here. Like this. Will that look better? Was it a bit odd having there be a separation that led nowhere? Maybe. I do notice the ear is now peeking through that line a little bit. Yes, just before the stream started, I was having an issue where pen sensitivity was working for everything except my eraser, which was a bit of an issue, because I find that's where pen sensitivity is at its most useful. Alright. Just have these be the back line of the hair. No need to overcomplicate that too much. Alright. Now on the other side, let's actually... Oh no, that's the hood line, not the hairline. As the hair disappears behind the... Or not the hood, but the, what's it called? Neck? It's the... collar. That's what it's called. Collar of the clothing. Alright. Now, just draw in some lines here to complete that. Get the face shape. Oh. There we go. Oh, I'm getting notifications. I should probably have those turned off. Not that they show up on stream, but they're just a little bit distracting to me. Okay. So, once again, sketch off. Looks fairly good. And I noticed that Aqua has very soft eyes. Lots of circles. The interiors, the irises, have a pattern to them, so I'm gonna have to bring back up her reference. And I also noticed that her pupils are oval shaped instead of circles. Right. There we go. Now if I hide the sketch, that is a fairly flat but accurate representation of what I was working on. I think I'll fix the pupils because they aren't closed line or very symmetrical. There we go. I just had to focus a bit less. Alright, now I'm just going to connect some lines. It's very odd how sometimes sketches can look far better than my rendered artwork. So if I get rid of this sketch, this looks like a fairly flat drawing. But then when I go back to the line art, it looks almost more realized. It's a bit odd. I feel like that's where coloring and shading needs to pick up the slack for the drawing itself feeling or looking flatter when it's drawn in more rendered. So I was wondering, maybe perhaps I should no, thinking about it, that's probably not a good idea. I was just thinking that maybe I should stop at the sketching stage, illusion shading. Yeah. But that's obviously not a good idea because then I'll never learn how to color or shade. This is at a very awkward angle for me to draw a consistent curve. Alright, but I managed. See, I did also notice that one of the issues that I was having when I was drawing the sketches, that I wasn't making her sweater puffy enough. I have some difficulty remembering to add dimension to clothing. All right. Yes, when I had the fire on, I actually had an issue where I placed one of the logs too far forwards, which meant that a lot of smoke ended up coming into the room, which is why the smell is still fairly lingering. Kept my pen down for slightly too long there. I've also been talking about how I plan on integrating on-screen chat. Enjoy being squishy? Yes. I've been talking about how I was going to implement on-screen chat. I still just haven't done it. And I also wanted to add a little bit of a wave here, even if... Hard to do with art? Trying to figure that out? Yeah. Yes, I wanted to add a bit of a wave here, because... I'd still not entirely okay with the fact that all that I'm really doing is copying poses and then adding stuff on afterwards, so I wanted to add a little bit of originality, even if it is just a fairly flat hand waving. It's probably one of the better hands that I've drawn, so that's fine. I think another issue that I have is that I tend to add the shading lines in black pen instead of having them be shaded in the color of the item or part of the body that's being shaded. So I'm going to leave the divots in the fingers for now and then come back to them when I'm actually doing the coloring. I do also appreciate that their clothing has visible seams on it, so I can differentiate where the shoulder and the arms are. That makes it very easy to work with. And working with this is going to be a bit tricky because I need to make the line fairly consistent, because it should follow the same line all the way down. I'm finding it very difficult to do in a single motion. Well, I feel like I can connect these with the right angle though. I'm just barely missing. You know what? I could probably just zoom in and make this easier on myself. There we go. Alright, and I think I also just enjoy the process of drawing in a sketchier style more. less hard lines to worry about. Okay. So now if I zoom out, I think that's all of the line art. Oh, all of the... Oh, and the whole point of the necklace is the little rupee in the center. I should probably draw that a bit more symmetrically. Oop. Forgot I did that all in one line. Alright, so. Yeah, doing it all in one line probably didn't help either with the consistency. Right. Bottom's a bit longer. Let's see. Yes, it does go a bit wider in the center, making it longer at the base. I've also noticed that most of the... Because in order to try and improve with what I'm doing here, I've been watching other streamers who work on art. And it feels like most of them rarely ever even talk about what they're drawing. However, as this is more myself learning how to draw and less drawing well, I feel like that's somewhat forgiven. Should their bangs be longer, I think? Because that's a fair amount of forehead that's showing. Oh. I think the head got cut off. Is it? Oh, no. Is it all still there? Or, okay, it is. Yeah, the bangs come down far lower than what I've done. Alright. Fairly simple process to lengthen them. Just erase the base and make the hair a bit longer. I feel like I should have these continue upwards a bit more as well. I wonder what it is about the flat bang hairstyle in between two horns that's so popular among Oni. Oh, it should actually follow a curve downwards. I realize I've just made it flat from the perspective of the viewer rather than from the perspective of the subjective reality of the picture. Oh, my cat's just shown up and meowed a little bit, which means that he may jump up in front of my screen fairly shortly. Oh, here he is. Hopefully he just goes straight to his bed and doesn't hang around on the desk too long, or else I may have to move him myself. Alright. Oh, no. Okay. Time to move him myself then. Are you going? Okay. He is safely secured somewhere where he typically doesn't move away from. Okay. So, I can actually just start color picking now. It is so much faster to sketch things out beforehand. Alright. Let's just get a good general skin color and move everything onto a new layer. Or, yes. Yes, this is what I want to do. Okay, so now, I believe... Let's see, where's fill tool? You're going to fill? Is the fill tool not working, or is... Oh, the correct color is selected. Alright. Do I have to click with my mouse? No. Did I change a setting somewhere? Should I hide the sketch layer as well then? Do I have to go back to my old-fashioned method of just coloring things in by hand? Because it is working. The color is selected. Apply to connected pixels, close gap, color through, refer multiple. Opacity is at maximum. Come now, fill tool. You have one job. So if I just make a circle there. Wait, is it because the color layer is too high up? I'm encountering the same problem I had the first time that I was running this, where I can't click and drag anything. What's manifesting this problem? Let's see, I'm opening up the pen settings right now, which I suppose, yes, aren't visible. Alright, let's see, I changed a couple of small settings now. It didn't work. Okay. Well, I'll just do things the old-fashioned way and color things by hand then. Oh, right. I need to move the layer. Which means I need to get rid of the layer and then create another layer that's lower. Oh well. It did feel like I was finishing this a bit too quickly. So I suppose slightly extending the work that I have to do because for some reason my fill tool isn't working is also fine. I suppose this means that since I am just coloring right now, I should probably think of something interesting to talk about. Let's see. Oh, I've not done too much today. I spent most of it. Here's what I ate today? Oh, that's actually a pretty good topic to bring up. Today, I actually made 2 separate food items. Very specifically, for breakfast, I made a very simple fried rice. I had some leftover rice, so I put that in a pan, or in my wok, rather. What was it? It was just egg, peas, and corn, and rice. Very simple fried rice for breakfast. And then for dinner, I had some stew meat. I was about to go. It was, I think, 2 days off of expiration. I tend to buy meats and then use them in order of their expiration date. I made a very good stew. There's a method for improving store-bought broth that I used, which is essentially just take all of the scrap items from the ingredients that you were preparing, so carrot shavings and bases and onion cores and ends, and then put that in the store-bought stock, and you reduce it down with those in it. And I also deglazed the pan that I cooked the beef in with some bourbon, I believe it was. I don't specifically remember. But I deglazed the pan that I cooked the beef in with some form of liquor. I don't drink much, so I don't know the differences between a lot of it. And by I don't drink much, I actually mean I don't drink at all. But that was very good. So deglazing, basically what you do is when you cook the beef, you cook it at a high enough temperature that it sears the exterior, which leaves bits of the beef stuck to the base of the pan. I use cast iron for most of my cooking, so that's typically not an issue. And deglazing is the process of putting liquid on it, typically something that you are going to be using to as part of the dish that you're cooking, in order to basically boil the residue off of the bottom. And it's a very flavorful residue, so it's basically just very small beef scraps that add a lot of flavor to the broth as well. And you can do that with any sort of broth that you are making. Yeah, it's sort of like that. So like if you do that with chicken, you can make like I do this fairly frequently when I make a pan sauce for pasta and chicken. So I'll deglaze it with a little bit of white. So I cook the chicken, and I'll deglaze that pan with a bit of white wine and make a pasta sauce out of that. Deglazing is fairly useful. It's done mostly with alcohols, I think. I may be mistaken there. I usually use alcohols to deglaze, because it adds a lot of flavor to it, especially. But you can also use broths or anything else that you want going into the final dish itself. Let's see, other than that, if ever I'm postponing a stream, it's a safe bet that I'm doing so because I'm watching someone else stream. Because normally I stream 7 hours earlier than this. But there are a lot of streams that I was interested in watching today, so I pushed it back. So don't worry about my well-being if I'm ever putting off streaming. I'm simply watching someone else stream. Most of the time, at the very least. Alright. I wonder if I've drawn long enough that the fill bucket has forgotten that it's not supposed to be functioning right now. And I can just take another crack at it. Yeah, it is also a bit awkward streaming while other people that you know personally are streaming as well. Alright, let's see. No, fill bucket still doesn't work. Oh well. I feel like I changed some setting on accident. Or there's some base issue. I do have... Yes. VSync is a, I don't... I don't change settings too often, so VSync... I'm honestly not even entirely sure what VSync does. It's just an option that I turn off if I want graphics or frame rate to be better. Oh, no, I don't need something quite that large. That'll do. Yeah, I've also, when I was setting up this stream, I noticed that I've had fairly bad internet connection these past few days, which has been splitting up my streams into very small pieces. So supposed to synchronize to your monitor. I feel like I heard of that. I guess I just wasn't entirely clear on what it meant. Okay. I'm a bit overzealous with that large brush, but that's what erasers are for. fine if I color outside of the lines a little bit. I can just say that's my artistic style. I also think 120 is probably a bit too big, even with pressure sensitivity. What am I using for drawing? I'm still using my tablet. I haven't gone back to mouse and keyboard for drawing since I got my tablet. It's just a bit too much fun to use. It's back when I was doing art with my mouse, it was more just I was drawing things that I liked, but the drawing process itself was very difficult. But now that I have a tablet, I just sort of want to draw for the sake of drawing. See, when I started streaming, I moved my PC setup to somewhere where I would have a more quiet environment to work with a more private area. Yes, it is nearly impossible with a mouse. I kind of want to go back to the early stuff that I did with a mouse and try and redraw it with my tablet to see if or how much better it would look in that situation. Because I feel like it might have improved a little bit at the very least. Alright, so Aqua's eyes are very rounded, very soft, no harsh lines almost at all. Yes, I have often heard that redrawing old artwork is also a very good way to see how you've improved, or what you might still need to work on as well. Just seems like an interesting prospect. I don't think I would do it on stream, especially since the first drawing that I did was a 5-person group shot of Hololive English. And that took me several days worth of multi-hour streams to get done. So that'd probably be something that I quickly attempted off stream. A little bit of skin got into the eye. I do wonder why my fill tool isn't working right now. I feel like I could actually honestly be completely done with the color. Well, I'd definitely be completely done with the coloring by now. And I'd probably be on to shading if I didn't have to color everything in by hand. But I don't particularly mind it. I do tend to err on the side of efficiency to a fairly high margin. But it is also fairly satisfying just to do things a simple way. It's also fairly satisfying coloring things in. I suppose that's why children enjoy it. Let's see. I feel like I had brought up a topic earlier. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't want to just leave a topic dead in a stream. Let's see. Oh, perhaps it'll come back to me, but I did also think of something else to talk about. But Ray, since you are here, and if I'm remembering correctly, you are one of the people that participated in my PNG drop for the assigning fate servants. Are you familiar with fate in any way? Or is that something you joined out of curiosity? Ah. Yes, I believe I chose for you Voyager, who is from a fairly... Not familiar at all? I see. Yes, Fate is definitely one of my favorite franchises. Yes, and I believe Voyager was the one that I gave you with a possible mention of nursery rhyme was the other one that I was thinking could be a possible fit. And Voyager is part of a very recent portion of Fate. Not many people know about him at all. Yes, I feel like Fate can be interesting even if you don't know anything about it. That was the main reason I chose it as a topic, because even if you don't know about Fate, there's a very good chance that you know about the historical figures that the characters in Fate are based off of. So it's still fairly inclusive in that manner as well. Alright. So I'm just about done with skin coloring. Now I just need to move on to the hand. I keep thinking of topics to talk about, but then I'm realizing that they are things that I have already talked about. I suppose it's supposed to snow where I'm living right now. We're supposed to be getting fairly large amounts of snowfall. To the point where I was issued a winter storm warning on my phone earlier today. Last time I had a winter storm warning, I lost power. So there's the potential that even if I decided not to stream tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to anyways. Yes, I do like snow. I think it definitely looks a lot better with snow rather than without. Barely get frost on the grass, Rio? Yeah. Yes, I live somewhere where it can get fairly cold. What's the current temperature right now? -11 Celsius. I'm not quite certain what that is Fahrenheit, but 0 is freezing in Celsius, so pretty low. Yes. Yes, oof indeed. I also stream out of a fairly uninsulated room, so there's not much heat that gets back here. So I have to be wearing a jacket almost all the time while I'm streaming. I suppose the PC back here does supply some amount of warmth with the heat that it off-puts, but... let's see, Lulu's... There's probably some differentiation between various words in there, but I'm unable to see it fairly easily. I believe I don't recognize your name. Lulu is okay, yes. Yes, I don't recognize seeing you around my stream previously. I'm assuming you're here from Aqua as well. But thank you for stopping by. Lulu Illustrations? Ah, yes, it is Illustrations with a slight change. Yes. Yes, it did look like it was pronunciation that was non-English. I wasn't entirely certain. I thought it could potentially be 2 words. But as you're probably now just getting here, for some reason my fill tool isn't working, so I'm just coloring things by hand. First time in streams? Yes, art friends. Yes, I thought that was probably the case. Ah, and Aqua's here now as well. Welcome, Aqua. Yes, so as I was just saying, the fill tool is not working, so I'm coloring things by hand. Let's see. So I can just go back so that everyone can see the full image of what I'm working with right now. I can also bring up the sketch so that you see what it looked like previously. So this was the base that I started with. And this is what I have gotten to so far. Thank you for the compliments, Aqua. Alright. Now then, back to color picking. Alright. I think this is around the base color for the hair, and I can just add highlights. Oh, sorry for the emote spam block. I feel like I should probably just get a Nightbot to be blocking links instead, because that's all that I really need blocked at this point. Yes. I only put Nightbot in so that spam bots would go away, but all they do is rapid post links. So I suppose I can... I suppose I can remove its limitations on emotes, especially since emote spam is fairly common in Twitch. I will update those settings after stream. Yeah. I was getting link bots, I think, from my first stream. So they've been a fairly constant annoyance. They've slowed down, actually. They were a lot more common in my streams earlier on, but they've just sort of slowed down as of recent. Yeah, 3-in-1 stream. Yeah. I don't think I ever got too many more than 2 or 3 in a single stream. But they were just annoying, so I stopped it. Possibly. Okay. Back to previous colors, and I can get the hair in. Yes, I was talking earlier while I was doing the line art and Ray was here about how I wasn't entirely sure what you had on your head, Aqua. I thought it was a nurse's cap, but as I was drawing I realized that it was actually a bow, or a bandana rather. And I think I've made a rough approximation of what a knot would look like, although I sort of went by hand. Yes, I was confused as to why you would have a nurse's hat as part of your design. It didn't seem to fit with everything else, but seeing it as a bow or bandana fits a lot better. Let's see, I'm just gonna test the fill tool again. Maybe it started working? No. Menhera? As in the Japanese word for mental health? Why was that being brought up? It's a bow? Yeah. Oh, it's the name of a fashion style. Perhaps I got the spelling off? Because, what is it? The Menhera facial expression is the sort of blank eyes, the no iris eyes. It's supposed to be the sort of crazy yandere look. The Menhera type character. Okay. Interesting that it's spelled the same then. Ah, yes. What is it? I remember, Yame Kawaii, that sort of fashion movement. It's sort of similar to that, I'm assuming. Yes, I remember Yame Kawaii being fairly popular a couple of years back. Or possibly not even that long ago. Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to remember some of the Yame Kawaii characters that I particularly liked, because it was a fashion style that I was fairly interested in for a little while. I thought it looked very neat, and there were a lot of characters that I liked that had that sort of style to them. But my mind is drawing a blank at this point. One of the ones that I can think of at this point in time is what's her name? The Niji Sanji VTuber who is a nurse. Sukoya, I think her name is. She has a very nice design that's very nurse menheta sort of style. Yeah. I'm a bit sad that for some reason my paint bucket's not working, but it is, as I said before, it is very fun to color things in. I'm a bit worried to just do what I would normally do, which is unplug and then replug my tablet, because feels like the pen pressure would probably stop, because that's what happened. But it's just not filling. Like I'll go to the fill brush and then I'll tap and it just doesn't do anything. I'm trying, and it's not filling. I tried all the settings and I'm not getting anything. Color margin, area scaling. I didn't see anything here that would be having issues. Yes, but I'm also having, because sometimes I think the tablet interferes with everything. So, for instance, I can't click and drag anything right now. So you can see I'm trying to move layers, but they're just sort of stuck in place. Even though my head is a little bit in the way. So I think sometimes the tablet just interferes with things sometimes. Typically, it does that when I plug it in after I've turned on my computer, but I made sure to have it properly plugged in. With the tablet, no, it doesn't with that either. I assume you heard me clicking with the mouse, but yeah, no. It's just not working for some reason. But that's what happened the first time I used the tablet, was I ran into that inability to drag issue. But I don't think I attempted to use the fill bucket at that time. But if I did, it probably would have not worked as well. I'm assuming I'm running into the same issue, where the tablet is, for some reason, interfering with some processes that are occurring on the computer. But it's not quite dire enough that I feel like it needs to be resolved right now, because I'm doing fairly well just drawing with drawing the color in rather than filling it. I would be going a lot faster if I could fill, obviously, but it's fine. Let's see what to talk about. Oh. Oh. I feel like I live a very passive life. I don't do enough to talk about things, honestly. I've already talked about everything that I did today with Ray, who was here at that time. Oh, that's not very healthy. Sleeping for only 2 hours. I feel like a lot of people will often talk about how they pull all-nighters or they go extra amounts of time without sleep, but my body can't stand not sleeping for extended periods of time. I believe there was one time that I tried to stay up for 48 hours, and I don't think I made it past... I think it was around 25 or 26 hours before I actually just fell asleep against my own will. I wasn't doing it for any specific reason. I had just stayed awake extra long the night before, and I figured, yeah. It was during the weekend, and I was much younger at that point in time. And I just figured that since I had stayed up all through the previous night, that I may as well just continue on through the next day, but I didn't make it very far into the next day. I believe I simply just fell asleep sitting on the couch. Entirely unprompted from myself without even trying. So I'm not actually the type of person who is capable of staying up for long periods of time. That could also be because I don't drink any stimulants like coffee, so I have no assistance in staying awake. I also find that most stimulants don't seem to have very much effect on me. Like sugar, I've never actually been energetic because of sugar, not even as a child. Sugar always just made me sleepy. I get none of the high from sugar and all of the crash. Coffee makes you sleepy or nothing? Yeah. So I guess you're fairly similar to me then. Where we get all of the crash, but none of the high. Yes. I've never particularly tried coffee, but I have, not very often, but I have had energy drinks. And they have the same effect on me where I just get, I drink them and I feel nothing and then I feel tired. Like a half an hour later. Get sleepy from caffeine, works at a coffee shop, yeah. I suppose it's more common than I thought it was. I don't know. I feel like I've never met anyone in my personal life who is unaffected by caffeine like us. And I suppose it's fine to work in the coffee shop. It's not like your job is to drink the coffee and it makes you sleepy. Or their job, rather. Talking about the friend of yours. I was speaking as if they were here listening. Yes. Yes, I suppose it doesn't make me sleepy, it just makes me tired. Like, I feel lethargic rather than sleepy. Caffeine headaches if you don't have any for a few days? Yeah. I feel like caffeine's a weird thing. So I'm not someone who does any forms of drugs. I'm fairly straight-laced. I find it very odd how certain drugs are incredibly harmful but widely available, such as alcohol and cigarettes, but others that are fairly passive are illegal. I don't know if this is something that Terms of Service likes me talking about, but I doubt bots are gonna pick it up on a 3-viewer stream, so I feel safe talking about that. Although I suppose that bots wouldn't necessarily discriminate based on number of viewers in stream. In fact, smaller streams might be well, I guess they're lower priority because, you know, nothing said in a low viewer stream would be particularly damaging to Twitch's brand. It's all about allocation of resources based on potential mitigation of damage. I like thinking about statistics a little bit too much. I feel like I probably could have done something with that in working life, but I don't know. Something that I'm very casually passionate about is statistics. I just think it's interesting. It's not something that I'm very, I suppose, adept at analyzing. It's a very casual perspective. I did take sociology rather than, I took psychology classes as well. I did take both of those in school. I did find them fairly interesting, but the legwork of gathering data sets is my big failing. Psych was your minor? Yes, I don't remember doing too well in it. Most of my memories of school have long since faded. Which is unfortunate because, as I've said in the Art Friends group, my schedule is going to be changing in mid-February, and that's when I'm going to be starting college. So it would be very nice if I actually remembered any of the things that I learned in school. So yeah, I suppose I can talk about that. I'm planning on going to college for English linguistics, with the eventual goal of being a ESL teacher, English as a second language. Because, as I have also mentioned, I believe, at the very least to Aqua, that I am a big fan of... I always mess it up with the study of bugs, which is entomology. But the etymology, that's it. Etymology and entomology. The study of language and the study of language. But I'm always fascinated with how language works and how communication works, very specifically. Because communication and language, although being very similar, are still very distinctly separate topics. Obviously, I don't know too much, given that I've never studied it in any official capacity. But that is what I am interested in working on. It's one of my big interests, specifically, is how many languages do I know? I know English, and I could probably tell you every third Japanese word out of a sentence. Yes. I'm actually starting college fairly late into my life. I've been a working adult for a couple of years now, so I'm not going into college straight out of high school. I have a couple of years' experience under my belt, but not too much. Alright. Let's get darker green for the hair in the back then. I'm wondering if that's maybe too dark. Yeah, I'm gonna try toning it down a little bit. I don't think I needed to go all the way to the extreme. Alright, let's settle for a happy middle. That's a bit better. Yes, as this is somewhat new to me, I'm not entirely sure what attending college is going to do to my streaming schedule. It's obviously going to get more difficult for me to stream, but I'm fairly certain that all of my classes are online, especially because of the pandemic. Because I'm not going to be living on campus. So it shouldn't take up an extreme amount of my time, I don't think. I believe I have... What was it? It was something like 6 hours a day of classes, something like that. I don't remember specifically. There's an online schedule that I can look at, but I haven't familiarized myself with it yet. Welcome back. I was just talking about my future career aspirations, and how I'm going to be studying English literature in college. But other than that, I am still shading hair right now. My cat just made a very adorable sound. I don't think it picked up on mic because I have a noise gate on here and it was fairly quiet. Yeah. Additionally, there is music playing, so that probably would have drowned it out anyways. But I have discovered that if I contort my mic arm around so that the microphone is pointing directly at my cat, you can hear him purring if he is purring. He's sort of just quiet right now. I feel like cat allergy is something that is incredibly unfortunate. He just reached out and grabbed my shoulder, which was very cute. Alright. His paw is still on my shoulder, by the way. Not to brag or anything. Oh, are all three of you allergic to cats? That is very unfortunate. Alright. So, I suppose now I will start coloring the eyes. Okay, so let's see, I'll get the darker shade and just do that around the center. And then I can clear out the extremities. I can probably take another picture and post it to my Twitter. I've put them up there a couple times before. But I can post another one. It's going to be fairly similar to the one of the ones that I've posted previously. Because he spends a lot of his time in the cat bed that I have put next to my desk, where I stream from. Let's see. I've actually been meaning to do this for a little while, to show what the layout of the room that I stream from looks like. So very quickly, I'm actually just going to create a new canvas, just taking a little break from the art that I'm doing. And I will sort of draw out, so slightly skewed, but that's fine. So I'm in this fairly long room. The entranceway is here. There's a door to the outside here. And there is a wall here. And there is a door here. And my desk is here. My chair is here. And right here, I have a shelf that has my cat on it, and there's actually just a whole bunch of like junk and stuff, because I'm in a storage room, so there's just a whole bunch of things that are being stored around here, and there is a desk that just happened to be at the back of the room that I was able to clear off and make a path so that I could sit back here and work from. And I also... This is where I sleep. This is my bed. Yeah, that is the layout of my room, in case anyone was curious. Alright, back to art. Yes, it's a small cave that I stream from. With lots of unused furniture in here. Alright. So then, let's just grab the lighter shade of the eyes. I can get that around the edges and on. See, it sort of covers the darker portion in the top. Eyes are probably the area that I have the most trouble with, because eyes are so very carefully shaded in actual artwork, and they have light sources reflected in them. And I just drop some flat colors on there and call it a day. So I feel like that's probably the area that I have the most room for improvement in. Yeah, all I can really do is mimic what the shading looks like. I often find that it's a lot easier to be taught why to do something rather than how to do something. Which I feel like was the root cause for a lot of my struggle in studies when I was younger. Is that I didn't understand that. So I'd only ever try to learn how to do something rather than why. Ugh. Yes, I don't know if my stream is high definition enough for you to be able to see my eyes. Or if my eyes are even open wide enough. Because they do stay rather narrow. But I somewhat recently posted a close-up picture of one of my eyes because I believe there was a thread, or not a thread, but a comment post about glasses. And I enjoy talking about my shared characteristics. Yes, I have, there's a proper name for the whites of the eyes that I usually remember as a fun little fact, but I have right now forgotten. Sclera, that's it. Yes, I have black sclera. And my irises are yellow and orange. Okay. So I'm gonna zoom out and see how off-putting that looks. It's a bit weird looking. Okay. Yeah, there's just so many highlights and shine and details that I am not able to capture very well. Hide and seek time? Yeah. I'm trying to... Actually, I think if I blur these, then that might actually help a bit. Because it's a lot of very hard lines, and eyes tend to be a lot softer. So if I just blur the edges a bit, maybe that'll help. I've also noticed a bit of transparency started to show through there. Yes, I've seen Ray's Twitter bio. That is the major feature of it. That info. Okay, does that look any better? I think it... You know, I feel like the hard line for the pupil actually detracts from the line. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Yes, because when I was doing, what was it? When I was doing the Fate Grand Order PNG matching thing that I was doing the other day, I went through anyone's profile that that applied so that I could get better ideas of who would fit them better. And I had seen Ray's previously, but I was unaware of how few posts that you have made. So that was the major info that I was going off of when deciding who to assign. Oh, I'm on the line art layer. Oops. Who got affiliate? What? Yeah. Oh. And I primarily use Twitter in order to tell people that I'm streaming. Ah, Ray did. I see. Congratulations, then. So I'm no expert myself. Yes, I am currently at 39 followers right now, so not too far off. Just a bit over 10 to go. I have all of the other aspects of that finished off at this point. I stream fairly regularly, so I am just incapable of figuring out what I'm doing. That's fine. I stream when I stream. I feel like, VTubing has sort of changed the way that I perceive the interaction between Twitter and other forms of content creation. Because previously, in my eyes, people would follow you for the content that you created, and then would then either find your Twitter or not. But because of how VTubers tend to work, Twitter is the main platform. So it's just a bit of change in dynamic. Also, I feel like this portion here is blending weird. Yes. What is happening? What layer is everything on? Oh. I solved my problem. This is on the reference layer. That makes sense, I guess. Okay, well, I can solve this. Or I would be able to solve this if I was able to drag layers around. Alright, well, I guess portions of the eye, or just a little secret for the stream. The left eye is on the reference sheet layer. Alright. Yeah, smoothing it out certainly makes the eye look a lot less robotic, I suppose, is what it looked like before. But it sort of just looks like a weird shape now. That's unfortunate. Alright, perhaps I will close the circle then, so that it doesn't look like a shape. And it just looks like an eye. So it won't have quite the same effect as the original. But it's what I am capable of doing. Alright, now just blur the edges. Okay, what does the original look like again? A lot better, but I wonder. Never used Twitter except, yeah. Yep. I never used Twitter much myself. I was the type of person that only used Twitter to follow people. I never posted myself. I need to make the dark section thinner. Well, I mean, it's not a bad thing that you overdid your eyes. They look good, so at least you got that part of it. Use hashtags? Yeah, I probably should use hashtags more. But a lot of my tweets tend to be so incredibly verbose that I rarely have enough room for anything else. I did include hashtags when I first started posting the announcements. I sort of just fell off of it. Alright. Wonder if I shouldn't just come back to the eyes later, so that I can make progress on the rest of the drawing. Okay, this may be as close as I get. Perhaps I'll try my hand at just adding some shine to them later on. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I spent so incredibly long on this eye, I'm just gonna make a copy of it. Let's see, I think I know how to do that. Control C. Control V. There we go. Now I can just shrink this one down a little bit and presto. A fully finished eye. I'm so good at art. I mean, it probably will stick out too much. I just want to see what it looks like. It's a slightly misaligned eye. Maybe rotating it wasn't the best idea. Ah, Freya, welcome. We're just getting all of the art friends in this stream. Okay. Let's see. Go to bed in a minute, just stopping by to say hi? That's perfectly fine. You are welcome to say hi. Alright. So, I'm just going to sort of change the dimensions of the ring in this eye, and hopefully that'll be enough to obfuscate the fact that it is a direct copy. 4 a.m.? Oh my. Yes, that is that's a bit late. Yes, these days I have been staying up a bit later since I have no obligations, but it's still very difficult on me. And every time I'm up past midnight, I feel terrible. I've been up until 1 in the morning these past few days, and I'm not a fan of it. Alright. Well, more secrets for the stream. This eye is a direct copy, but slightly edited. I think it's different enough that you can't particularly notice. Yes. Well, I've been sleeping in a fair amount, so I've made up for the lost sleep, but I just don't like staying up late. Alright. Let's just color in these eyes. Right. What was I going to do? Right. I need to lasso out this eye and remove it from the sketch layer. So now that eye is on its own layer, and I can now move the sketch independently. Which I want to do so that I can have a background for when I'm coloring something in white. Nope. I've done it again. At least I caught it early that time. Well, hopefully I'm not keeping you too awake at that point then. I feel like I talk softly enough and my background music is gentle enough that it should be possible for you to get to sleep, Aqua. I'll try not to make any loud noises in that case. Even though I rarely ever do, so there's not too much to worry about. I wonder if I'll be able to get this done by tonight. Or in tonight's stream, rather. I'd like to. How long have I been streaming? Almost 2 hours. I've been streaming for a lot longer than I thought I had. I thought I was maybe around, I don't know, an hour and a half at this point. But it's been nearly 2 hours. Yes. I tend to listen to a lot of things while I'm trying to go to sleep. And I suppose none of them are always necessarily peaceful. I can fall asleep to pretty much any sound. I remember I used to go to sleep listening to Red Letter Media reviews because they're such long videos that by the time they're over, I'm usually already asleep. And if you know anything about Red Letter Media, you probably know about Rich Evans and the fact that he laughs like a hyena, which is not the most relaxing thing to go to sleep to. But I managed it somehow, so... Yes, I tend to need some sort of sound to fall asleep. Nothing too... Just about anything. Like, nothing too loud necessarily. Even fans will work, so... In the summer, that's what I usually do, but in the winter you can't really have a fan going unless you feel like freezing to death that night. The heaters also take a fair amount of electricity, so I don't like to leave my space heater running for any large amount of time. In fact, I don't think I've turned on my space heater in a couple of weeks at this point. Yes, it does make noise. I just don't use it very often. And I've never left it on while I went to sleep, even though it does auto disengage if it ever falls over. I'm wearing a jacket, and it's not -10 where I'm at, it's -10 outside. Celsius. -10 Celsius. Not Fahrenheit, don't worry. Celsius is still pretty cold, but... Oh, I see Ray also put Celsius in there, so... I guess I was clarifying nothing. Yes, it's fairly cold where I live. I'm trying to remember the point at which Celsius and Fahrenheit become the same temperature. It's fairly low from what I remember. Somewhere around -30, I think. Don't worry, I have 2 separate comforters. Yes, I'm fairly certain it's somewhere around -30. Yes, although I do need them because I sleep on the ground floor on a futon on the ground. So the lowest possible elevation And of course heat moves up instead of down. So I do sleep in the coldest possible location in my house. Oh no. And that's fun looking, but I didn't mean to do that. Alright. So that's all of the important aspects colored in. Now I just need to do the cow patterns and the necklace. So I'm very close to being done, actually. Oh, I say very close, but it's just a lot of coloring at this point. Or blocking out lines, rather. So I suppose I'll just do this on the line art section of the drawing. And I'll try and match the original as closely as possible. Oh. Let's see. So the question now is, do I just do everything on color, or do I think I just do everything on color at this point. I don't think I need to block out the outlines for this on the sketch layer. So here's the main thing. I have a lot of problem with trying to do any original aspects to my own work. You should have seen the mental breakdown I had on my last stream when I was finishing up G-Sock's artwork. She had a reference for the outside of her shoe, but not the inside. So I spent a good, 5 minutes trying to think of what I could possibly do for the inside of the design of the shoe before she went and drew me a reference herself. So if I were to attempt to make my own cow spot pattern, that would take me far longer than copying the cow spot pattern that you already have. Oh. Alright then, good night, Freya. I'm assuming that's your notification that you're going to sleep. And the asset store, I'm assuming you mean decorations? Let's see, would that be in pattern? Natural? No. Artificial? No. The other window? I don't know about any other windows that pop up in Clip Studio. What would that be under? Oh, you mean the initial launch window. Like Clip Studio itself. Where, like in the top left, it says paint and modeler and license options and all that. Okay, that's what you meant. Clip Studio assets? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about then? Yes, I sort of just ignore that this window exists. I've never actually looked at anything that's on it. Let's see. Oh, I suppose I am looking at it now. I'll do the bow on top with the same pattern, but I suppose I'll use the cow pattern then for the clothes because it's a much larger surface area. Alright. Alright, cow pattern, yeah. Free. Oh, I need to sign. Why am I not? Oh, it saved my login at the very least, so I don't have to type it all back out. Bring me back to where I was before, don't just bring me to the home menu. Oh, this is a very exciting me searching in a search bar that can't be seen. Which I suppose is for the good because... Alright, downloading cow pattern. Alright. Now where's that going to show up? Is that in patterns now? I've downloaded it. Do I have to relaunch Clip Studio? Or is it just going to be in here somewhere? Do you know, Aqua? Do you have any ideas on where that download ended up? On the right-hand side. Alright, I'm on the right now. Material? Oh, there's leopard print. Patterns? All materials. Cow pattern, there it is. Alright. I found it. Cow patterns. Okay. Next painting material. Am I just dropping this onto the drawing? I'm gonna hit OK and see what happens. Am I drawing cow pattern now? No, I'm drawing barbed wire. Oh. Drag it onto layers. Oh. I'm running into the issue again where I can't drag things. Perhaps I'll do this later then. If I am unable to drag right now. Yeah, click and drag isn't working. Alright. Well, I'll get back to that later. But for right now, I think I'll just, since I have that to use, I'll just finish with the bow, and then I'll figure that out later. Possibly off stream, since there's not too much left to do with this, since I am nearly done. So perhaps after the stream is over, I will unplug my drawing tablet and then work from there. But as for this, I'll just draw on the spots by hand. And unfortunately, you haven't been able to get to sleep with my constant questioning, but hopefully it was still enjoyable anyways. There we go. Add another extra cow spot there for flavor. Right. Well, I wonder. Oh. Okay, well, that's what I've gotten done today so far. Free to use commercially, yeah. Alright. So that's what I've gotten done so far for today. I suppose I'll add the cow pattern to the sweater afterwards. And maybe if I'm feeling bold, I'll add a bit of shading. But I don't know. I'm not particularly good at shading just yet, so that's a hard maybe. I think flat colors is about the level that I am capable of doing right now. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by. Not quite enough people to raid with, and I'm not following anyone that's currently live, so I think I'll probably just end the stream as is. Do a raid? Alright, do you have any suggestions? I'm not following anyone that's live. Ah, shoot. I need to mute my stream. Alright. Gabby Gobo? Sounds like a goblin. Oh, Risk of Rain 2. I love that game. Alright, well then, let's head over there then. Alright, well then, I will start the raid. And I will kick it over to the ending screen and we'll raid after that. Alright, so I hope everyone's enjoying their time. Thanks for coming along.